This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by promoter Eddie Hearn here in Manchester. Eddie, firstly, how are you? A busy few days for you.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, we had a tremendous show in Mexico, Oaxaca. It was amazing. Nearly 10,000 there. Great night. Flew back straight up with the... despite Sam Jones thinking I get private jets up to Edinburgh, I was on EasyJet, I confirm. It was good fun. And there yesterday, back home, back up to Manchester, off to Orlando tomorrow for Berlanga against McCrory. So wouldn't have it any other way.
Very busy time for you, Eddie. Let's just start off with today. The reason we've started today, Gill-Barrett, great fight at super featherweight. Yeah. Talked about trying to make this fight, the ins and outs, and any sense of a disappointment that maybe one of them didn't get that world title fight that was spoken about previously?
No, for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, I think you got to really, does Jordan Gill deserve a shot at the world title unequivocally through beating Conor? I think you can make an excuse for it, but you can't say that's it now. It's ridiculous. He must get a shot. Zelfa beat Rakimov, had his shot, dropped him, could have beaten him, lost. Does he unequivocally deserve? No. So stick him in together. It's a brilliant 50-50 domestic fight, and the winner of that fight will unequivocally get a shot at the world title. I think this card, top to bottom, is a really, really good card. I mean, you've got Eddie Scotney in a fantastic unification fight. I love Cameron Vong against Jordan Flynn, as we saw up there. I think it's a brilliant fight for both men. Rhiannon Dixon's in a really tough fight for the lightweight world title as well. Michael Gomez Jr. against Kane Baker is going to be an absolute war. You've got Brandon Scott, you've got William Croller, you've got so much more on the card. And for me, that main event is so refreshing just to see a fight where, like, when Jordan beat Conlon, the whole team, all the matchmakers, everyone went Jordan Gill against Barrett, and we went, they ain't going to take that. They both won a world title fight. They're not going to take a 50-50. Fair play to both. Zelfa went headlining in Manchester, yes please, and Jordan Gill and Ben Davison went, we love the fight. So fantastic. Thank you, boys.
Obviously, I have to ask then, the one world title issue you have at super featherweight, whether he's still there by the time he comes around, is another question, though, is Joe Cordina. He has that Kakache fight. Speaking to Zelfa earlier, he said that the reason why he never really went anywhere previously was because the financials that could have been on the table. Do you think that could be revisited?
For
Barrett versus Gill?
Yeah. I mean, look, Joe, he's got a great opportunity in Saudi. Just wants the biggest fights out there. The reason that the Zelfa fight didn't happen was Joe just felt that the money wasn't there for that fight, and I think he's always right to believe that. And now he gets an opportunity in Saudi. We've also got Sugar Nunes is the mandatory challenger that will get called after the Kakachi fight. Could there be an exemption? And I think Joe probably has one eye on moving up to lightweight as well. I think in his career he has somewhere between 3 and 5 fights left, Joe Cordina. So our job and what he wants is to make the biggest fights possible from a legacy point of view, from a financial point of view. If that's fighting the winner of this, if that's fighting Nunes in America, if that's moving to lightweight, Joe will fight anyone. But he's just got to beat Kakachi first on May the 18th.
Eddie, take me back to yesterday, a fiery press conference, a fiery face-off, which I'm sure maybe had some tweaking bums when we saw it kicking off there. What did you make of everything that preceded at the presser yesterday?
I was just happy, do you know what I mean? Like, I felt a great buzz yesterday. It kind of reminded me what we've been missing, I think, over the last couple of years from British boxing. Not just Matchroom, but British boxing. Like, where are the big British rivalries? We need to build those rivalries. And obviously we've got it on April 27th with Taylor-Catterall, but we need to build the other rivalries as well. I saw from, ticket registrations over the last 72 hours to the social numbers yesterday to the interaction, it works. Do you know what I mean? When you've got a great rivalry, when you've got narrative, obviously you've got the controversy of the first fight as well, but it's good business. And, I think it's going to be a great night. I think he's going to do really well for DAZN. I think tickets are going to fly, and I think it's a great fight. And the title is Hate Runs Deep. We've seen it. Like, there's no messing around here. They don't like each other. There's a lot of personal stuff that's been going on backwards and forwards, and they come together again today. And we just got to try and make sure we get through today.
I don't think anybody was surprised to see it kick off the way that it did. You mentioned afterwards you expect the board to maybe reach out and have a little word. Has that happened?
No, they didn't. And actually, I'm glad they didn't, because I watched it back, and you know, I was kind of like shying away like a bit of a pansy because I didn't want to cop one. But yeah, I've seen it. You see that one? Great, really good. But like, I think no one struck anyone. Like, it wasn't. It was. There was a few sort of lashes out. But you know, today is about. It's difficult because we've had a meeting with the security today saying how are we going to do the head-to-head. The last thing I'm going to do is put them in a cage with a perspex glass between them and they're all banging the like. Come on, this is a real professional sport. But I need them face to face. Like, you want them face to face, don't you? It's great for your numbers. The fans want to see them come face to face. So I will talk to both fighters before and just say, guys, face to face, say what you want, but nothing physical. And I'll be on the old, you know, the Dana Whites, you know, yeah. But that's what we want. I want that. I want to feel the pressure. I want to stand between them. I want to get excited because I know you'll be excited once I'm excited, and I'm really excited for this fight.
How important is it, Eddie, to deliver this type of fight? Because a lot of talk about seeing a lot of those big names fighting out in Saudi Arabia now, so losing some of those big nights here. How important was it to deliver this type of fight?
I think we all recognise, and I'm talking about us, Sky, Warren, Queensbury, we all recognise we need to land major UK fights in Britain, ASAP. Because financially, everyone's doing really well at the big shows in Saudi. And by the way, Saudi are doing amazing to give us fights that wouldn't happen otherwise. But we can't just do solid, good shows in Britain. We need the big nights. I need to do 12,000 for Taylor-Catterall. You know, Frank needs to do Yard Boazzi. I need to do Ben Eubank. You know, Sky need to do... I don't know, or Boazzi Yard themselves, or whatever, because we're under pressure to do it, and that's why I was so pleased. And to be honest, that's why the investment was made in this fight, Taylor-Catterall, because the Zone stepped up. When everybody else wanted to put it on pay-per-view, the Zone said, no, we'll pay for it and we'll make it available to subscribers non-pay-per-view. And that was massive for us, and, you know, a big move from them.
That does lead into my next question. Obviously, previously I saw your comments, Frank's comments about what was wanted by the fighters from their teams was meaning that it was leaning more towards pay-per-view originally. What changed other than the Zone fronting up more money? Was that literally it?
Just the Zone. We took more of a risk, you know. All of a sudden, the profit on the show becomes less important because of our need to deliver a big fight in the UK. So, you know, we might make more money out of a next gen than we do out of Taylor-Catterall. But we need this fight for British boxing. We need it. You know, DAZN want this fight. DAZN have got Fury against Usyk. They've got Joshua against Ngannou. They've got Haney against Garcia. They've got all these massive nights, but this is bread and butter stuff, you know, and it's the Wood Warringtons and it's the Taylor Camerons, and we need those fights. And basically what happened was I said to Sam Jones, look, go out and speak to the broadcasters and see who wants to do it and what's the position. So Sam went out. Sky made him an offer to do it on pay-per-view. There's other broadcasters that made him offers to do it on pay-per-view. And came back to us and said, what do you want to do? I said, let me speak to DAZN. I said, look, Sky want to do it on pay-per-view. Everyone wants to do it on pay-per-view. We acknowledge we don't want to do it on DAZN pay-per-view, but you've got to pay for it. And they went, I think we should pay for it. And I said, thank you very much.
You've got some great names at 140, Eddie. Matthias, Paro, Prograis. The winner of this can go on to maybe face one of those. As Jack's promoter, one thing which I'm interested by, we've seen all the emotion both men are showing. Any risk that gets in the way and might compromise each other's plans come April 27th?
What, you mean having a tear up and then the fight falling through?
Great for every other fans, but no, I mean not the fight falling through, but I mean when they're in the ring, maybe doing something which they wouldn't have imagined to, maybe for throwing a certain shot which they never wanted to, getting countered, just falling into certain traps.
Fighting on in emotion. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's always... But these guys are experienced. You know, they're not like... You see, like Cameron Vong against Jordan Flynn. That's a fight where that could happen. Where they just go in, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 people in the arena, all the hype of the fight and just, you know, not Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. But I think the fight will be a lot more aggressive this time. I mean, yeah, you talked about our 140s. It's quite incredible, really. I mean, we've still got this fight with Devin Haney. We've got Subriel Matisse, the champion at 140 with the IBF. You've got Dalton Smith fighting Zepeda. You've got Liam Paro. You've got Regis Prograis. There was another one as well. Matthias. No, there's more. There's more, yeah. So, you know, for me, it's a fantastic division for us to be in. And Jack Catterall, has all those guys in front of him. But of course, Jack wants a world title fight. This is the only fight that he would choose over a world title fight.
Eddie, away from this, is obviously always some topics to touch on. Conor Benn and Tank not going ahead now. What can you tell me about Tank turning down?
It's not going ahead now. It was never really going ahead, but we've made him an offer. We need to discuss the offer in more detail, which he hasn't been forthcoming, and that's fine. Like, you know, I think the fight can do really well, but doesn't look like that'll be next. We've had a couple of other fighters step up and come on. Danny Garcia being the public one of those, which I love as a fight. But there's a couple of other fights that are moving very quickly behind the scenes. As you know now, Conor Benn has had his appeal. We expect that decision in the next couple of weeks, and that's all we're waiting on, because that will determine where he fights next. You know, if he fights in the UK, it's a certain type of fight. If he fights in America, it's another type of fight. But we are ready to go with his next fight. We just got to wait on that decision.
The names being mentioned, would you say Danny Garcia is maybe the leading name now, the name you prefer because of how high profile it is?
Not necessarily, but we're definitely up for that fight. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a fight that can sell out in London. It's a fight that can sell out in America. It's a big name. It's a high profile fight. It's up at 154, which is, you know, I do see Conor's future at 147. But it's another great option for him, and he has a lot of options. We're just, you know, it's a little bit frustrating for him because he's just got to wait to get this decision and hopefully fight in the UK. And if not, then we plan another international fight.
You did say you wanted him out in April. I know that the end of April is taken up now. Realistically, looking beyond that?
Yeah, I think it'll be May. I don't, listen, every fighter, especially Conor, wants to fight as soon as possible. If the right fight and the right payday came on and it's, I don't know, early June, it is what it is. But he wants to get out as soon as possible. You know, he's never out of the gym. He's ready to get in and fight now. He'd be ready for April 100%. Tony Sims is having a little rest, and then real camp, we'll presume. But realistically, it'll be May now.
Eddie asked Frank Smith about this. I'm going to throw it to you. Obviously, May 18th going ahead means Wood Warrington 2 cannot take place at the City Ground. After Leigh beat Josh, he did some interviews and he said that in his contract it was written in that the City Ground had to be delivered to him. If it can't be delivered to him, does he become a free agent now? Can he speak to him?
Listen, I said to look, we love Leigh and we've done an amazing job. He's made an absolute fortune. And if a massive opportunity come around for him with another promotional company or another fight, we'd sit down and have a chat. And, you know, I'm not looking to obstruct his final fight or final couple of fights or whatever, but yeah, of course we've got a great relationship with him, and he's definitely had his best years with us, and we'd like to plan his next fight. Had a meeting with him at Ben Davison's gym. I think the Warrington fight is still the fight to make, but obviously the money changes significantly away from the City Ground. Also for Josh Warrington, if featherweight gets picked as a weight class in our 5v5 with Queensberry, he's probably our pick. You know, subject to potentially Ray Ford becoming world champion in 10 days' time. So they've both got options, but you know we'll be looking to strike for those guys. I think realistically now, if it's Wood Warrington, it will land also in June. Katie Taylor looks to be fighting end of May.
Chantal Cameron?
Possibly. I mean, again, you know, when you talk about the numbers, if that's not outside, it'll be back in the 3 arena. We've got to make the numbers work again. So. If we can do that, that's definitely our preferred option. But if not, you know, she's got mandatories to take care of and she needs to fight. So the Chantal Cameron fight will definitely happen. It's just whether it'll happen in May or whether both fighters will have interim fights. In an ideal world, we jump straight back into the trilogy.
Can you tell me about where things stand on the 5v5? And I spoke to Shane McGuigan prior to Craig's fight with Boris Crichton, and he said brief talks had happened around a potential Anthony Yarde fight. I know they're talking about Yarde and Buatsi now, but is that ongoing in the back?
Yeah, I mean, the talks, you know, the talks are about weight classes, not fights. Because the way the format's going to work is we will choose 2 weight classes, Queensberry will choose 2 weight classes, and His Excellency will choose a weight class. We will just put out our best available fighter from that weight class. So you see, if Yarde fights Buatsi and I choose light heavyweight, they've got to find another fighter at light heavyweight to fight Craig Richards, if he's our pick. Yeah. If Nick Ball beats Vargas, we've got to put forward our best available featherweight to fight Nick Ball. Could be Ray Ford as WBA champion, could be Josh Warrington, could be Maurizio Lara. You know, I mean, it's a fantastic format. But the aim is that you don't and we don't know until we get to the press conference at Joshua-Ngannou And you'll know the picks, but you won't know the fighters. So hopefully in the next week or so, we will announce the weight divisions for the 5v5. And then no one will know. Not even me, not even George, not even the fighters, until the press conference. So it will literally be, I don't know, featherweight, Nick Ball, and I go Josh Warrington, you know, or I say Craig Richards, and they say, I don't know, moving up a light heavy or super middle, or I don't know, or you know, we say they say Joe Joyce, and we say Justice Hooney, or you know, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Eddie, one thing I'm interested in your thoughts on is Mr. Ben Whittaker. It's been going viral recently. Obviously, you previously spoke to him about potentially joining the Matchroom stable. Didn't happen then, but by the time maybe he becomes free, something you want to revisit, especially with all the noise being made around him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Ben Whittaker will be a Matchroom fighter one day. I don't know what his contractual situation is. I've had no talks, but I see the kid being a star. And if that's the case, you know, the problem is with Ben is you've got to build him in the UK, but you've got to fight him internationally. He should be on the beat. He should be on the Canelo cards. He should be on the Haney cards. He should be on the Saudi cards.
He did come out and say that it is his ambition to fight in America very soon as well.
Yeah, but they don't have shows, so you've got to ask for a favour, and no promoter's going to put him on a big TV slot because they put their own fighters on a TV slot. I've done it myself. When weren't doing shows in America, I'd get a favour off Golden Boy or someone, and you go on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with 2 people in the crowd. Do you know what I mean? So Ben needs that, but I think he's doing a great job, and his profile's going through the roof. I think he's a star. But yeah, of course. I mean, if Ben has aspirations to be a superstar, then obviously you'll want to be with Matchroom.
Just a word on Haney-Garcia as well, Eddie. Finally getting one over the line.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bill done most of the work, I'll be honest. You know, Bill has been beavering away, done a job on Oscar de la Hoya. They got a fantastic deal. Obviously, we're involved because we have that fight with Devin. Press conference next week, which will be out in New York. I think it's a brilliant fight. I think it's the perfect fight for Devin. I think it's a perfect fight for DAZN. We'll find out if it's the perfect fight for Ryan Garcia. But it's a brilliant fight. 2 fantastic young fighters putting it all on the line. That's what we want. And, you know, April 20, Haney-Garcia, April 27, Taylor-Catterall, and some other big stuff coming in May. Get ready.
Final one from me, Eddie. Just a lot of videos coming out now. Pictures of Anthony Joshua looking very good in the gym. All the rumours coming out and reports that he's been looking very good. Francis Ngannou is very confident though. I watched the face-off yesterday. He seems very up for it. He seems like he'll pull the upset off.
He's dangerous. He scares me. I mean, he's massive. But I still stand by. I believe AJ has all the ability, all the fundamentals to beat Francis Ngannou. But it's very dangerous. He's very strong. He hits very hard. And he has no fear. So it's just one of them where get it done, go like that, and move on and become undisputed world champion.
Really appreciate it, Tom. As always, enjoy the fun later on.
Thank you, mate.